Good morning.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me to be on this Zoom call with you.
My name is Nisa Talavera. I'm the assistant editor with the Patagonia Regional Times newspaper. So tell me a little bit about you, how you came to be in Santa Cruz County, your background, and why you're running for Santa Cruz County Assessor's Office.
Okay. My name's Octavio Gradillas Jr. Most people know me by Tavo. I was born and raised here in Santa Cruz County. Have lived in the county most of my life. Majority of it in Nogales, a little bit in Rio Rico, but always inside Santa Cruz County. I'm married, father of three young ladies. All of them already graduated from college and they're living in Phoenix right now. But for a while, one was out of state, went to college in Rhode Island at Bryant University. She actually played softball there. The other two went to Arizona State University. I had a law enforcement career of 23 years. When I retired, I went into the real estate business. So I've been a realtor for 9 years now. Also, because of my background, I do a little bit of security. So I'm a Arizona licensed security guard, armed and unarmed. And I'm also a security guard, unarmed instructor for the state. Throughout my career in law enforcement, I managed to rise through the ranks and eventually retired as a lieutenant. Two of my favorite things from that time was one, serving on the Arizona Peace Officers Standards and Training Board, appointed by Governor Napolitano, board who oversees all the certifications for all police officers in the state. That was a great experience for me. And also attending and graduating from the FBI National Academy for Law Enforcement Managers. That's a highlight because I made a lot of connections, some people who I still have contact with. In fact, last summer I was in Belgium for a vacation and I got a chance to have dinner with one of my classmates from back then. So that was amazing. I've worked for the Boys and Girls Club. Currently, I'm a city council member for the city of Nogales, appointed almost 2.5 years ago. My term does end in December, and that's why I decided to run for county assessor. There's a lot of issues going on in county government, and I guess all over the country. So it's a time that I thought, after doing some research, my background, my skills, my work in law enforcement and real estate have given me the experience that would be needed to manage such an office. And I think I'm the right candidate for the job. So that's the reason I decided to jump into this election. And also, democracy doesn't work without choice. So my opponent was running unopposed. So I thought about it and said, well, we need to give our constituents a choice, at least a choice. Once they make the decision, it's up to them, but at least another face that they could look at, do the research, and then hopefully vote for me.
Great. Thank you for that. What benefits do you believe the assessor's office provides to both municipality and property owners?
Municipality right now, the city of Nogales is actually excluded because it's the biggest municipality in the county, but the city gave up the right to property taxes many years ago. So the city doesn't really receive any money from the property taxes. On the other hand, the county and other smaller municipalities, towns do because they share in the revenue. The assessments or taxes imposed from assessments is the biggest revenue stream for the county government. That's how they pay for most of the expenses. Property taxes is the major one. So everything, trash collection, road repairs, schools, fire district, they all enjoy receiving the funds that are derived from the property taxes. Without that, they wouldn't be able to survive. So it's very important. That position is critical to county government.
Mhm, mhm. Can you tell me why are you the best candidate for this job?
Along my career, I've held positions of supervision and management, a lot of trust, a lot of accountability and transparency. Uh, an elected position such as that does not require any specific uh, certifications or knowledge to be a county assessor. But if I am elected, or once I'm elected, I vow to take any courses, educate myself, gain any certifications needed so that I can better provide for the community, actually, the whole county itself. And that's the reason I think I've prepared myself for this. It fits into what I know, it's part of my knowledge. I've worked with appraisals for 9 years now, And although appraisals for real estate transactions aren't the same as assessment appraisals because they're guided by different guidelines and state laws, it all comes back to being about the same thing. It's all about the value of your property and how it is assessed from that.
Mhm. Um, Along those lines, of what you just shared, can you let our viewers and our listeners know a brief description, of what the assessor's office does for the county, and the vital role you believe it plays in the government? I mean, what does the assessor's office do?
First of all, their priority is the appraisal of all property within the county. Real property, personal property, commercial, residential, any type of property, they must assess it so that they can estimate a tax rate off of that. So that becomes then the revenue stream for county government. They also provide mapping. They just implemented a great new mapping system. It still has room for growth, which I hope to take to the next level. It's going to take a little bit of time to get all the kinks out, but it's a great progress forward. I think I'm capable of bringing that into the future and making it more accessible, making it more available to the community. There's information for widows and widowers as far as exemptions, a senior freeze. All this information does not really get out to the community, and most people don't know it's available. My plan is to educate the community, be part of the community, be out there sharing and educating, because I think our assessor's office has been lacking that for many years. Nobody knows what an actual assessor does. Everybody thinks they collect taxes. Now, the treasurer's office collects taxes and the board of supervisors sets the tax rate. So it's totally different, but it's all incorporated.
Mhm. Thank you for that. Um, Switching gears a little bit, many residents in Sonoita and Elgin, and the Patagonia area feel that they bear an unfair property tax, burden compared to the rest of the county. How would you respond to that?
I've actually met with a lot of residents out in these areas, and they all inform me that they have received higher tax bills in the last year and they have no explanation for them. My plan is to make sure that I meet with all of them and explain to them how the rates were derived, how it works. By state law, I think there's only a 5% increase per year that is allowed
Mhm.
according to the assessed value. I can't tell you how or what formula was used because I'm not there, but I
Mhm.
will surely work on getting that information out. It should be assessed fairly all across the county, and not just because you live in a higher neighborhood, you're going to pay a higher end neighborhood. You are going to pay a little more than the other neighborhoods, but it has to be fairly done, not
Mhm.
just prejudicial. Well, I think you have a nice home. I'm going to charge you more in taxes. It shouldn't work that way, or you own more property. There's also some exceptions like grazing, uh, raising animals and stuff like that that can be used, advantages that can be taken by the homeowners or property owners so that they can do have a little bit of relief on their taxes.
Mhm. Okay. With the county being so spread out and really having different pockets of neighborhoods and communities all within Santa Cruz County, it is a challenge to sometimes get communication and information out to homeowners and communities. Um, is there something that you believe that the assessor's office could be doing better, or that you might implement that could help with communication for homeowners in different parts of the county?
I think, and I believe being active in all these small communities, at least showing up once in a while, talking to the residents, listening to their concerns, also having an open door policy at the office where anybody is welcome to come in and talk to us. And that way we can better explain the information to them, because over email, over regular mail, it doesn't work out as good as it would be on a person to person contact.
Mhm.
And I do realize that we are spread out, but that it's not more than 45 minutes to an hour drive in any direction where we can actually meet with our constituents. So I look forward to doing that. I look forward to be in contact with everyone so that we can all rest assured that everything is being accounted for. There are transparencies. And like the fire districts and school districts, I would like to implement a policy where we would issue them assessed value up to date or something to keep them current so they know what they actually have. I know you're aware of the issues that happened with some money being missing, and it has to do with the special districts, fire districts, and school districts. And there may be some lapse between this is what we should have, this is what we have. So I think we need to keep them up to date and upfront with everyone.
Thank you for that. That fits nicely with my next question. There is an absolute breakdown in trust of our county government. As you know, this spring, the trust of the county government took another hit when former county treasurer Liz Gutfar, who served as county treasurer for over a decade, stepped down from the position in April, and within days of her resignation, the Board of Supervisors announced that the FBI and county staff were investigating flagged financial irregularities in the bank accounts. And according to public records, at least $4.1 million is missing and have been withdrawn from county funds. Prior to that, Assessor Fuentes pleaded guilty to a felony charge in conspiracy to commit wire fraud for his role in a long-running bribery conspiracy. What do you propose to do to regain the public's trust? And what safeguards do you plan to implement really in your position to prevent future scandals like these?
Some scandals are unavoidable, but the oversight is not there. That's one of the biggest issues is we have to have oversight and accountability. Just because you're an elected official doesn't make you above the board of supervisors or vice versa. There should be checks and balances between all departments and even at the state government level so that we can keep tabs on each other. It's not like we're spying. It's making sure that everything is done correctly. That's what we try to do at the city. When we receive an audit and there's flags about it, we need to find out what it actually comes from and find the root cause, not just say, oh, it's a clerical error, it won't happen again. Because it's just not a clerical error. Sometimes you have to look deep down, find out what the root cause is, and then make it changes. Policies should be looked at to make sure everything is up to par. And oversight is the biggest thing. Accountability, not just to the elected official, but the elected official is accountable to the constituents, but should also be accountable to state and federal officials because we're dealing with public funds. So that makes it necessary to have these issues in place.
Yeah, thank you. Working with the public is an important part of the assessor's job. Your ability to communicate with them effectively is critical to your success in your position, in any position. In your opinion, what are some of the critical factors for communicating with the public? And part B, in your opinion, what is the most challenging part of assessing a property?
Communication is key. Without communication, we cannot move forward. And that is the first step is being open to talk to people, to meet with people. And some certain issues that would derive about assessing property is having access. Sometimes we don't have access, I'm assuming, to go into a property, go into a building, so you can have correct assessment. You do need to take measurements. You do need to take photographs. A lot of stuff can be done by aerial or by standing at the fence, but you'd have a more accurate picture if you actually get a chance to go inside the building, measure it for, because you can't take just somebody's guess as to, oh, it's 2,300 square feet. If you don't measure it yourself, you can't confirm that. I think all that needs to be confirmed, but without access and communication, I think that would be one of the biggest issues holding back the assessments.
Yeah, thank you. Do you feel, I'm sure you're aware of what the budget is for the assessor's office. And do you feel that the budget for the assessor's office is adequate? And what's on your wish list? If you're elected, what would be on your wish list? Technology or otherwise?
I am not really familiar with the budget. It's an operating budget, but I think we have to review the positions that are there the employees that are working there, plus the technology is very important. I just talked about earlier about the implementation of the new mapping system.
Mhm.
If we need to put more money into that system to make it better, I think that would be a priority. As a realtor, I rely on that system a lot to check on property ownership, the parcel size, tax information about it. It's all on that website. I think the whole website as a whole might need to be revamped. So that's something I would like to take a look at. And then working with the county manager, the finance director, and the board of supervisors to establish the needs first, and then work towards working to obtaining the goal of what is needed in the office would be my number one priority. So a full assessment would be my first step, and then moving forward from there.
Okay. Um, Speaking about working with property owners, can you describe a situation in which you had to work with a challenging property owner? And if so, how did you handle that?
As a realtor, perfect example, uh, working with sellers and buyers, sometimes they come to you and say, I want to make an offer on this property, but I only want to offer this much. Well, I've had to do research, provide a market analysis for them where it would show them, okay, this is what the market is calling for. This is what properties are going for in this certain area. If you come in with this offer, we're going to get beaten out unless you really want this property. We need to do this, this, and that. Same thing as a seller. I want to sell my property for 3 million. I'm sorry, your property is only worth $500,000, and here's the backup information that I can provide for you, letting you know that this is the only thing we can list it for. And I've had some situations where I've let go of listings that I just can't list because the owner is adamant. Well, I'm not going to sell it if I can't get this much. Well, I'm sorry. I only work with factual information. I can't go above what the market is telling me. If you get me a full appraisal, bring it back to me, then we'll list it for the full appraisal.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you. Um, how do specific demographics of a neighborhood affect the value of a property within the area?
Depending on the location of schools, medical facilities, availability of fire and law enforcement, all those issues raise property values. More than anything, it's based on the sales that are happening around the neighborhood. That is your biggest indicator of a property's value. Most assessments or appraisals come in on a per square foot basis. So it's not if you have a pool and you have a wall that you put in $50,000 into a wall, it's not going to raise your appraisal by 50,000. It is going to raise it a bit, but not by that much. There's a lot of other issues that go into appraisals that people don't understand. That I put $50,000 more into my house, it should be worth $50,000 more. It not necessarily works that way. It has to go through the appraisal process. Once that is done, then you have an accurate appraisal amount.
Okay. Um, I think I have just one more question for you. Um, if you are elected, in your first 30 days in office, what are your goals and what would you like to accomplish?
When I am elected, I will make sure that we do a thorough assessment of the office itself, employees, technology, anything that's available that we might look at as far as any changes. I'm not looking to come in and making wholesale changes without first getting an assessment and making sure of what is working, what is not working. I'm not really big on reinventing the wheel, just making sure it's aligned, it's balanced, properly inflated, and working properly. That's what I'm looking at. 30 days is not a long time, but I think we can do a lot in 30 days, at least to get a snapshot of the actual office and how it's running. And definitely implement an open door policy and make sure I talk to my constituents, keep them informed, and be open to anybody that wants to come in and challenge their assessment or have any questions regarding of what breaks they can get, anything like that. So that is my goal for the first 30 days and moving forward from that, meeting with finance, county manager, and the board of supervisors so that we're all on the same page.
Great. Anything else you'd like to tell the voters in Santa Cruz County before they get their vote in and head to the polls?
Yes, I'm really looking forward to working with other governments, city, other county agencies, not just the county complex, but any agency in the county, community agencies, state and federal governments, because knowledge is power and context is your biggest asset. If you have a contact in another county that's maybe going through the same issues that we are, if we communicate, we can more than likely come up with solutions to almost anything. So I'm a big proponent of creating those contacts, building those bridges, and working towards a common goal of serving my community. So if elected, I vow to be number one person for that job and make sure I give back to my community.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time today to meet with us and talk to me and just help the voters and community know more about you and how you can serve them and Santa Cruz County. So thank you.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure to be here. Please have your readers or viewers do the research before they head to the polls or fill out their paperwork, and they have a choice. That's the most important thing in democracy, is having a choice.
Yeah, great. Thank you.